welcome back to another episode of the Social Circle. And my name is Angaga, and I think it's time for me to give the panelists a chance to introduce themselves. So I will start from my right.
Hi, I'm Christine Wangashi. Excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Rebecca NDABARI. I'm glad to be here.
Oh yeah, I'm a clown. So today we are talking about the health of tall men. That's a wordplay. Mental health. So yeah, I think before we get into it, I'll give Kristen the chance to give us a brief introduction into mental health in Kenya. Yeah.
Or other statistics that are out there. Some are from WHO, some are from the government. So we'll just juggle, through it.
Mm-hmm.
It says that 1 out of 4 people in Kenya face some sort of mental illness, and mental illness includes depression, anxiety, or rather any way or form in which you're not able to fully go about your day-to-day activities. And about 50% of children do go through at least depression or anxiety. And it's said that women face more, or rather go through mental illness more than men do. The statistics was about 30% to 12% men, which is something I think we'll have to discuss because I really don't think that is very accurate. But yeah, so basically that's some statistics we have for you off of the research that's done on mental illness.
Okay, but I think we should give it a basis or a foundation by first asking you, what do you think, what comes to mind when someone mentions the word mental health?
Your mind being healthy. Okay, I think it's also just a whole complete state of just wellness, which starts with your mind, your thoughts, in turn your thoughts, and your emotions. Yeah.
Vicky.
I also agree with what she said. I also googled this, so I'll just read what I googled. Mental health, this is from mentalhealth.gov. It says that mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act, and it determines how we handle stress and relate with other people. So that's the official definition.
Okay, that's the official definition. But now we are all women, as you all can see, we're women. So I think there's a need for us to see the perspective of a woman, mental health from the perspective of a woman, because we're women, and mental health for men and women might be different. So what would you say, or is there a distinction between mental health for men and women according to you?
Well, for me, I do also feel like gender is just something that comes to complicate life, because women and men's only difference is biological, has nothing to do with neurological or need to feel or need to think or need to act or need to do anything. So already, nah. But I do feel that the gender constructs that are there in society do make us go through different types of stress points and different types of, the impact is different according to different types of things we go through. So yes, I do feel like gender plays a role, but because of the constructs of gender, not because we are men and women, because we are just human beings.
Okay, point to hear, Vicky.
I think when it comes to things like mental health, it shouldn't be men or women. It should be more of, as a human or as a person, how well are you psychologically. It shouldn't really, as she said, it's not biology. It should not be separated in terms of gender, because we all go through it. So yeah, that's all I think. It's not really, but as she said also, that there are some things that, as per the roles we play in society, we might face different challenges compared to men. But in general, I think mental health affects all of us.
Have you guys had instances in your life where you felt that, I'm actually going through a mental meltdown?
I think that kind of constrains what mental illness is all about, and I think I really differ with mental illness in the first place because I feel like it attacks more than it brings close to solve. Like if somebody was to come and tell you have a mental illness, you'd probably be like, "Wow, it must be really serious. Like I must be going through some."
But I think disorder is heavier than illness.
I don't even think that that's the right thing to say. I think it's just saying that you're not well, or that would also not be nice. Said well, sorry. But I think just actually calling it what it is, you're going through depression, you're going through anxiety, is more simple and more like, yeah, I get what you can be saying than going and telling somebody you have mental health issues.
No, but
you need help.
We're not saying that everyone is educated on mental health, but I can't go around and read about mental health, about everything, and then come and just psychoanalyze each and every person.
No.
You know what? You're a narcissist.
No, I don't think that's what it should be,
bipolar,
honestly. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you were to approach somebody who is going through something like that, I think just opening it up to, are you okay? Like, what are you experiencing? You understand? Is more appealing to them even to talk about whatever they must be going through than if you just come and say, so have you gone through mental illness? Like, are you okay? Like, you must not be okay if you say yes, but anyway, the other thing is on that point that I feel that it's not a one-time thing and it's not a process. Does that make sense? So it's a continuous thing. Like you have faced instability mentally a couple of times because of different things. Yeah. So it's not that you're mentally ill conclusively, and it's not that it's a one-time thing. So for me, yes, it's something I've experienced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have also experienced it, but as she has said, I've just gotten a moment. So I've realized that I have gone through it, but not like a one-point thing. It's happened a bunch of times, and I didn't know it also. Maybe.
So you just actually sit down and like, oh wow, I've had meltdowns and I've had instances in my life where my brain was working against me. So did it take you sitting down to actually analyze your life to realize, it just clicked once, like, wow, okay, fine?
I think it depends on how it affects you. For me personally, highlighting the things that were stress points for me made me realize that me not dealing with those things led to other things.
Yeah.
You understand? So, like, it starts from, is your environment okay? Are you okay? No. So what's going on? Because I think even though you're not conscious of what mental illness you're going through, you know when you're not okay.
Yeah.
Or a level to, being okay. So
I differ with her on that one, because for me, it happened when now I was dealing with the aftermath. It was whereby I was not 100% okay. I did not feel I was not in a place of wellness. So now when I was there, thank you Google for existing. Yes.
The worst place to go.
I'm sorry, it was my only source of information. Now what did you want me to do? So I Googled, what do you do when someone feels this and this and this? And then it now led me to other links, which made me realize, by the way, we're having a mental breakdown, and I did not know. And then now from there, I went now to find out what is causing this, how can I deal with this, should I seek help, and get better.
So, do you think that the environment you've grown in, or the environment you're in right now, allows you to have that space to take time and analyze your life and sit down and take pointers in your life and see that I'm actually doing well mentally?
What? That question, yeah. Okay, I feel like...
a follow-up maybe to that other question that I just asked you.
I feel like it just has a couple of parts. First, I feel that my environment is a source and a key source of my lack of mental wellness. That's one. Two, I do feel that even though I'm in that place, I do think of like how to get well, what to work on, what's affecting me. Yeah. So it doesn't distract me from it. It just causes some of the things I go through. Yeah.
So heavy one. So where I am right now, I'd say it's gotten better. At some point, it was a trigger for many of the things I was going through, but as of now, I'm able to, at least, it's become calmer. I'm able to go back, do introspection, be able to work through things, and also when these things, the triggers happen even when you're still at home, because you're dealing with so many people and they've gone through different things and they all have their various versions of trauma that you have no idea, and they're projecting it without even their own knowledge. When I take it from that perspective and realize whether these guys are not doing this because they actually are coming from a point of malice, it's just a form of protection. And also when I see myself do this, I realize that this whole environment, no matter how turbulent it may be, I can still be able to get to a point of wellness. Though there are times I would suggest, if your environment is really, really turbulent, take a break and just distance yourself from it for some time. Until when you feel you're okay, you can go back. But as for me, it's better and I can be able to at least work on my mental wellness.
I've asked this question because I realized the one time I came to know about mental health and mental wellness is when I was now older. Because growing up, no one ever told me things about the things like bipolar disorder. No one told me about depression. No one told me about all these affective disorders that nimekuja nikajua because of Google. So I think I'm not blaming society then, but I am blaming them, if you get what I mean. Because it has taken me 20 many years for me to realize there are actually things that I did not know, and I think I should have been taught about it and I'm not equipped to be, you feel like you're not a lesser human being, but you feel like you're not equipped to socialize with other people because sometimes you encounter people who are going through things and you don't know how to deal with it. So the many years you've been alive has not helped you know these things that are happening around you. So if it were not for Google, as you said, and the people who are very passionate about mental health like you, Christian, and yeah, she is, people like you who are going out of their way to help people know about mental illnesses. We're not going to call it that, we're going to call it mental health, yeah. Spreading the word about mental health. So yeah, if it were not for people like you, I don't think I would ever have been aware of what I was going through personally, because it took Google and other people talking about it for me to know that. So the next question will be, what do you think are the factors that contribute to you as a woman being in a state of your brain not working against you or your mind not working against you?
Yeah. Like, what helps me not go into a bad place? Or
you will cut that out. My English is bad. This is why your brain just works against you. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
What leads to me not being...
Yeah, what are those factors you're like, I
feel like when you say as a woman, it's kind of like, wow.
Oh, it's good. This is an episode that is woman centric.
I get you. But let me just say it personally.
Yeah.
As me. I think for me it's the constructs in society that don't allow us to have healthy relationships, and that's the breeding point of lack of mental health.
Could you expound on that?
Yeah, like you're brought up in a toxic situation. Everything you know is toxic. The way you interact with other people is toxic. The people who are around you are toxic. Of course, you're going to be affected at some point. You understand? So for me, I feel like the culture we have, or the society we're in, doesn't allow us to have good relationships to ensure that we can even break the cycles of toxicity, or that we can confront the things that we go through. Because if you're still facing stigma about rape now, we're in the 21st century, I mean, this is something that's happening to very many women. Yeah. I mean, 1 in 3 women have been physically or sexually abused. So if it's even a problem to talk about that, then you can imagine talking about parents being toxic to their kids, or childhood traumas, or any other type of situation that maybe wouldn't be as intense or is as intense depending on how somebody takes it, but just it gives so much insight into what other people are facing and how those things are being dealt with. I mean, by the time you're telling somebody you're facing a mental illness, or you're not okay, they're thinking, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, that's the mentality. Or you're just so dramatic, or, you know, figure it out.
Yeah.
That's not something to put you down. You need to go and get this money, or whatever people are told. So, yeah. So for me, I think it's the fact that we're already in a society that doesn't even acknowledge that there's a problem with the structures which make us who we are. So if there's no problem there, then where are these things coming from, and how are we going to solve them?
Yeah.
So I think it's the lack of sensitization, if I can say it like that, like the ignorance.
I also think it's society, and because we're not taught about it. No one really talks about it. You know, like when you're a kid, you're taught how to walk, how to eat, how to dress yourself. You're not told that if someone probably refuses to play with you, how you're supposed to deal with that.
Yeah.
No one tells you that if someone does not listen to you when you're explaining something or telling a story, that you'd end up feeling horrible and it probably end up affecting you in the future. Or when your grades are bad and you're being criticized about it, it makes you feel like you're probably not worthy enough. You're like, they're smart, they are the ones who have everything, I'm the one who doesn't have what they have, I should be like them. So you see, our society isn't exactly molded in a way that gives people a chance to learn more about these things. I think we've had more awareness, not just from psychologists or therapists, like up to the grassroots level. Like your parents are told that when you bring a child into this world, know that you're the primary caregiver, and the formative stages from around 0 to 7 will be very important, and this will shape them until they're like 90. And also for those guys who didn't have caregivers who actually took care of them, need to realize that we need to be told, you have to go back and do inner work and introspection, and you'll have to deal with your traumas so that you don't affect other people, so it doesn't become a whole generational thing. So I'd say society in general, and lack of knowledge or awareness, and also your stigma. Like as she said, someone will come and tell you violently, but it's just, you're thinking like that because you're idle, or you're thinking like that because you are having first world problems, or you're just too bougie. You see, like, okay, you just...
Yeah, because I saw something that said, is it that we're so sensitive now and that's why we are facing so many mental issues? I just think we've been suppressing them for so long that now it's kind of like you have to deal with the problem.
But if I would say, okay, we are talking about society, and our parents are part of that society. But if you look at how our parents were brought up, they were brought up in an environment that did not allow them to know or ever perceive things about mental health, or ever think that they will have to deal with it, because we are now a generation that is aware of mental health. But our parents' time, we never used to talk about it.
I think our parents now are still not aware.
Yeah, they're still not aware because they choose not to talk about it, because it's not a concern for them. For some of them, not all of them, but some of them, because the way they were brought up did not allow them to also bring up people who could tackle or deal with mental awareness. Because I've never sat down with my mom and like, Pastor Mom, let's talk about mental health. Because I don't even think we can have that conversation. She's not equipped. I'm not saying she's not equipped, but she's not equipped to have that conversation with me. And if maybe ningemwambia she doesn't, she'd probably think it's, go talk to Jesus. I'm not saying that's what my mom will do, but probably most parents will tell you, go talk to Jesus or go to church, someone said it's the wrong company. I think it's
lack of responsibility. There's something about parenting. No, I'm serious. Okay. There's something about parenting that wasn't passed down. Like, there's a time I was thinking to myself and I was like, even the institution of marriage, companionship, the way we are brought into it now is so inorganic. There's so many things that are of value in that unit, because it's gonna create a family unit. The family unit is the basic unit of everything. The economy, politics, society, everything. So the way you're gonna thrive or not thrive is based off of that thing. So the lack of involvement of parents in their children's lives, because involvement means you're actually caring for the well-being of this child, not the way you see it or what well-being should be. That yes, emotionally, financially, all these things, that you're trying in every capacity to ensure that this child you're bringing up is whole. yeah, or has a full perspective. But I feel like parenting has been a one perspective type of parenting for most of us. Like, I was there for you financially, I was your parent. I was there for you like this, I was your parent.
I mean, taken to your class.
You know, not even that. I gave back to you. I gave back to you. You have no right to say anything. So, I mean,
I want to be a devil's advocate for our parents. I think, when you go back and realize your parents were also kids like you.
True.
Yeah.
They also went through severe traumas. Let's say, for example, let's say your parents came from, they're like the 11th born. And you have like a crazy 20-year gap between you and the first one.
Yeah.
And your parents are so busy handling all these 11 children, they don't even have time for you. You get forgotten. You see, this is already a version of trauma. And they didn't know these things. And the fact that now us, I believe we're very lucky, we're able to access information.
Yeah.
So for them, they didn't know these things. And now they grew up with them. And as they grow older, unless they reach a point where they actually actively seek to to become better, or to deal with their past traumas, to become more wholesome people, these things will still be passed on to you. And now this is what will now make us become very disgruntled with our parents, because the same trauma that they've had will be pushed onto us indirectly. Probably not per se will be like the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Their parents were there who decided, because I was neglected, I won't neglect my children, I'll always be there for them. But their parents who were neglected realized it happened, but then they were like, no, it's a normal thing of life.
Yeah.
It's not really a big deal. They also lived, so my kid will also live if they go through a similar situation. So I think for this whole thing, it's more of people need to become aware. Even if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever age you'll reach, you need to go back, do introspection, and just start not fixing. We're all human beings, none of us is broken. It's more like work.
We're broken.
We are broken, man. We're going through human experiences, man. You say you're broken, it means that we're like toys.
Because when you're born whole. You know, you have all this area of possibility. Like, you can become anything. And I know this, depending on what environment you're put in, it determines whether you're going to be whole by the time that process is done, or some things will have been taken away.
They had one marking scheme for life,
and that's exactly what I'm saying. You know, I don't think that the intentions were necessarily wrong. I'm just saying it's not worked, and that's the way things were. Yeah, I'm not coming for them, and I'm like, you should have known better. Not from where, you know. But it doesn't still change the fact that they didn't know better.
But as I said, y'all need to go back and do some inner work.
Who your parents?
Everyone.
This is parents, Miss K.
Wait, no matter. I did that part.
Nyangi, you're okay. I'm not going to go for
Mama,
Nyangi.
I love you.
But as Christine mentioned before, people now think it's that we have become more sensitive, and the fact that we're talking about mental health just makes us look like a weaker generation, because now we have emotions erupting and we want to talk about it. Now we are being disadvantaged by the little things in life. And do you agree with that notion that we've just become a more sensitive generation, or the world we're now following the trends of the first world country? Do you think that is really true?
No, I don't think that because somebody got to the answer first that it means that they're making us do things.
No, okay.
You get this issue has been there. If it was not there, then we would have been fine. I mean, it could have just been like those you'll get over it type of situations. Okay. But now we're actually realizing that more than we want to think, people are actually going through a lot and have no healthy way of working through it, have no access to therapy, have no access to any sort of support, and are enclosed in these pits of toxicity. Can you imagine? There's so many people who are in the places where they get their trauma from, and they can't deal with them. They don't know what it is. They are still experiencing the trauma, and they are still, it must be hard. So I don't think that it's that we are more sensitive now. I think it's that we've gotten to a place where we can't avoid it anymore. It's here. It's with us. You know how, like in those movies, the aliens have come. They're here. There's nothing you can do now. They already penetrated the ozone layer.
we can use coronavirus as an example. Yeah, it's here.
Exactly. So I don't think it's more on sensitivity. I just think it's that now we are more conscious, or we're allowing ourselves to be more real with ourselves to actually say there's an issue.
Okay. Vicky, do you agree with that, Nisha?
Yeah, I totally agree. We just became more aware. It's always been there. If it wasn't there, then explain some of the
Generational.
generational traumas or these vices, like for example rape. Like for example, someone beating up another human being for no good reason, someone coming out with a knife and stabbing another human, homicide, or just generally people lashing out, or people having stress, or having just those days when you're just wondering,
or being addicted,
Yeah.
because addictions are actually a show that people are not okay.
So all these have been indications. It's just that we didn't know what caused them, or maybe we had a rough idea, but we just
there was no space.
Yes, that's the right one.
But I've been there. Like, I thought people with anxiety used to be, you're a rich kid, you have first world problems. So don't tell me that you have anxiety. I mean, it didn't make sense to me when someone tell me to connect to come anxiety. I just thought maybe you're just too fidgety.
Actually, and I would want to add that when it starts to manifest physically, it shows that your trauma has actually really been affecting you for a long time. Because anxiety is not the first thing you face. You don't just wake up tomorrow and you're anxious. I feel like it's something, it's almost like a reflex to now being so used to being in that position that now you don't have control over how you're reacting, or you can't control the fact that you're scared, or you're not in control, or don't have power to soldier on, so I feel like the manifestations of this situation, this not being okay, they happen over a period of time, and that's a key indicator that you're not doing very well. Like, you really need to, seek help, I think.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're the one who answered,
What?
But
I feel attacked.
Yeah,
I feel attacked.
But yeah, so, and I feel like also, like, anxiety presents itself in different ways. I feel like most of us just want to see, oh, you're having a panic attack. Gosh, you're panicking. Yeah.
And then there's also this thing whereby
but
people,
anxiety can be you fidgeting your leg all the time, you just being in a constant unease, like you're just not okay. Your mind is not settled, like you're just in your own space that is just destructive, and that now affects other things with the ulcers and the stuff. So I think,
So yeah, you were talking about it's just now us being aware of what's going on, but let me point this out. Okay. I think there's a constant trend of people now psychoanalyzing everything and everyone, because I've had this word, kwanza, narcissistic. He was narcissistic. I had a narcissistic boy. Kwanza girl. Okay, I'm not saying girls, but yes, females are just going out there and people are making videos of how you've had a narcissistic boyfriend or spouse or whatever. But I think we are overdoing it. Like, we are just borrowing words from the internet and now just placing it on people without really understanding what is going on with someone. So I have a problem with people who are going around psychoanalyzing each and every person, which is a problem that comes with us having the platform and the sources of information on mental health.
I don't think so. I think everybody has their own type of character that ties into a certain type of not mentally okay person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's just that now we have the terms. Before, you just say somebody is messed up, or if you use the higher word.
But I do get you.
But now it's just that it's out there, and now people actually feel the need. People actually feel that they can express that they've gone through certain things. I don't feel like everybody who's expressing it has genuinely gone through all of it.
Yeah.
Because there's also lack of understanding of what a narcissist is to the T. Like, really understand. Like, being able to meet you and be like, bruh. But I think people are overindulging in it because they're so excited that now they can actually talk about these things. The second thing is people are also really deflecting, that they just want to be like, let me tell you how depressed I am so that, like, you don't come telling me because I already know.
Exactly.
You get, but no one is really working on getting better. So I think there are extremes to it. Like, there's the balance of I'm not okay and I'm ensuring that the support systems I have, the people in my life know that I'm not okay and I'm seeking help or I'm trying to work on whatever that's not okay. And then now there's the extreme where you know there are issues, but you're like, I'm not dealing with them, but sour, we are not okay. And then there are the ones who are like, no, there's no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Vicky, you got something to say?
No, she has just said it all, literally.
Okay, and before we go to the next question, I feel the need for us to discuss this thing because we've kept mentioning it, the support system.
Yeah.
And we've had a conversation even before we started recording about the support system, because I mentioned that we are not equipped to deal with people who are going through mental health. Even our own friends. If a friend of mine came to me, I don't think that I will be equipped enough for me to deal with whatever they're going through, and I'll feel like I'm insufficient at the moment to them. And I don't know, maybe it comes with you being someone's friend. Now you have that, kuna your standards umepewa, like you're my friend, now you deal, my bullshit is your bullshit. But I don't think people are well equipped to be each other's psychiatrists. We make psychiatrists or therapists out of our friends.
I don't think it's that. I think we have already impersonified. Like scratch that. We've removed the what do I say? The responsibility of a human being to be a social support for other human beings.
Okay.
That now we've put it on psychologists and psychiatrists to deal with that part.
Uh-huh.
That now, when you feel like you're being like it's too much, you should just be able to communicate and say, I don't think I can effectively support you through this, but what if I supported you by helping you seek somebody else who can help you, or who would you be open talking about it with?
Yeah.
The problem is we also have bad communication skills, but I do feel that human beings are social beings. Our need for codependence is strong. So if we are going through problems, we need to be able to sort it out here before we go to a psychiatrist, because the problems that are being caused are being caused here. So why are you going to solve an issue there that is being caused here? You should be able to deal with that issue here.
Okay, let me get personal.
Okay.
If you were going through something, or the instance, you already say that you had instances where your mind was working against you, did you turn to your friends?
Yes.
First, that was your first option.
No, I mean, telling myself that I'm not okay is the first thing for me to now go and tell now other people how I'm not okay, you know.
Well,
like I'm not okay, so you need to know how not okay I am, you know. I feel like the first step is always realizing it on your own.
Okay.
But sometimes you just feel like you don't know what's going on and you need to vent and you need to just tell somebody what you think might be the problem. You're not sure, but you feel like you kind of know. Aba, hii kitu ni kama inani affect. Siko sure, but wacha niende niongee na nani, maybe we'll get to her. Because that's basically what therapy is. It's just really expressing yourself, and that's what I'm saying. You need to express yourself in a way that you feel you can release, you can go over and beyond and just be real with your emotions and feelings, and do it in a space where you're not judged, in a space where you're able to actually talk about it all, not censor others and then over exaggerate others. Just say it how it is, and then now come to the place where you're like, oh, that's what is going on, which is now self-awareness, and then now find the ways in which you can work through those things.
Okay, Becky.
I have a slightly differing opinion.
Okay.
If you are in a space whereby you do not feel comfortable enough, or even your circle isn't as welcoming or as supportive, I'd really suggest go talk to a therapist personally.
I'm not suggesting therapy. I'm just saying there's so much we can do on this level before.
Yeah, it's okay. But then there's this thing whereby oversharing to some extent, you'd feel
like you're
burdening this person. I know it's not what friendship really means, because friendship means I'm supposed to support you, I'm supposed to care for you, you're supposed to care for me. But what if, in my personal perspective, I feel like, no, this is too much. I don't want to add on to your table what you already have. So let me first go talk to this person who'd be like my wall, where I bounce off, I vent, and then I'd be able to now self-reflect. And once I'm comfortable enough, now I'll come and tell you, by the way, I've not been okay, and now I know that it's okay to open up. I think it depends on the person.
Okay, but I think it also just shows how we have just really lost the tools of dealing with problems. Like that, everyone is going through such deep problems. There's so much chaos that we just can't be there for one another. Because if you are whole, me coming to you wouldn't be a place of burden really in itself, because you would be able to support me through it, because it wouldn't be that bad that you can't support me through it. But now we're in a place where things are so bad, everyone is dealing with so much toxicity, like the level of toxicity is so much because it's generation over generation over generation that we've not been dealing with. So now we're at a place where things are hitting the roof, they are hitting the fan, it's deconstructing, like things are bad. So already you might not be conscious that you're facing issues, but me coming to put things on you is triggering you, because your mind can't comprehend why you must be going through this.
Okay. But let me say, maybe probably it's just a personality thing, because on my end,
to an extent,
if when it happened, I didn't go to my friends first. Like Ulisama, yes, you talk to yourself first. You talk to yourself, and then you go to a stranger, because there's just something about talking to a stranger. You feel like, you know,
it's safe because they can't criticize you on things they don't know.
Exactly. And the other thing was because I didn't want my friends, you know, you're burdening your friends. I'm not saying it's so much chaos, but you know, you're thinking about your friends too. They're probably going through some things, or they don't even know what to do. Like, hey Becky, man, I'm going through some shit, and you don't know what to do with me. Like, you're like, okay, I understand, Christine, you're going through this and this. Like, we're going to deal with this. We're in this together. But in real sense, you're not really helping me, because what exactly is happening in my life, or what exactly is triggering me to do such things. So probably we have friends that we really love and care for, but we are not equipped enough to deal with some of the things that our friends bring to us, which is very sad. True. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's still a fact.
Yeah, it is a fact. And maybe things will change eventually. I don't know how long it will take, but probably not anytime soon, because as the trend continues, I think we're going to become worse at communicating. Truth be told, we're becoming worse and worse at communication.
Okay.
Because of technology. Like right now, I don't even have to text Becky. I saw her status. I mean, she's alive. She's cool, right? I don't need to text her. I thought about you, but I didn't have. I didn't have to text you.
It's just being like moving away from humanity and its core, which is dependency, and in interaction, which is the key to all these things. Because if it was still an important part of who we were, we would still make it important, even with all these things. But it just shows how we've also detached from that whole thing. You know, that other things are more important than other things. You know. Yeah.
So we've had a whole year of pandemic, and would you say it has triggered, or it has contributed to your mental health, well-being?
I think generally, it has allowed people to be honest with themselves, because now there's no running away into social scenes and partying all the time, or drinking all the time, or doing what. Now you're enclosed in that space that you've been running away from, and you have to deal with what you're facing. You know, you can't run away from things anymore. So I think it's made people more conscious, which has triggered them more. You get it? Like, people are more affected now, because now they're dealing with a lot, because now they have to be conscious that they're dealing with a lot.
Also, for those who are able to, it's enabled them to also now take the journey and just start. As you said, you just realize, I'm not okay. For some people, they decide to continue ignoring it. For others, they decided, no, what can I do from here? How do I get better? And also, I'd say for most people, it actually that state of uncertainty, anxiety, it may have also triggered you very badly. Because you're not sure what's going to happen the next day. Will I be there? Will my people be there? Will the world still be there? Who knows? Maybe a zombie apocalypse could happen, and we're not quite sure yet. So that's how this whole pandemic could have affected people. It could have been.
But don't you think it's weird that we are now in a place where uncertainty is making us anxious, even though our lives are uncertain?
I don't know. It's because we weren't aware.
I feel like the things that are real to us, we run away from. And then the ones that aren't, we embrace. Like death. is the one thing you're sure is going to happen. But the way people just act like, I'll talk to you next week, like next what's going to happen in the next 1 minute or next 10 seconds, So I think it's just brought out the fact that we are so
Positivity.
out of tune. We're so out of tune. That's all I think.
But would you say it's more of we are more on the side of everything is okay? We are more positivity attuned compared to dealing with.
There's a difference between positivity and avoidance.
We become lazy. Honestly, no, we've just become lazy at everything.
Effort.
Yeah.
Having a real connection with somebody takes effort. Yeah. That's why most relationships don't work these days. Yeah.
But for me personally, I think the COVID pandemic has made me be so much I had time with my thoughts, and it was scary.
Yeah.
Because
the distractions.
They're no longer there, and you have yourself to deal with, and wow, okay. But it has also helped me now to know myself better, and I've explored myself. No, it's not what you're thinking. I have explored myself mentally. See, yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, it has given me the time to explore myself well, and I'm more aware of who I am. If you ask me who Wangaga is, I am in a better position to explain who I am mentally. But I know there are people who've gone through worse during this pandemic, and we're not going to talk about it here because we don't know. It's their story, and they're not here. And you're not here, sadly. But yes, moving on. Do you think the government has done its part? Like, has it played its part perfectly or well in helping the mental awareness or mental health or spreading it in a positive way? Yeah.
If the basic unit of everything is the family, and the family is not conscious of what is going on, then the government is not conscious of what is going on. You don't expect that system that has been built by this system to know what this system doesn't know.
Okay, makes sense. Baking.
I also think that it's kind of unfair blaming the government instead of coming back and posing the questions to ourselves as people, as a society.
Is it even important? Let's say they actually take the initiatives. Who's gonna do anything about anything?
If we're not willing, us as a society as a whole, as people, well, everything, we can put the best hospitals, have as many therapists, have people who are trained, but no one would be willing to go because we ourselves are not willing to do it. So I guess it starts with us first, and then it will become snowball, and then everything will become better.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you, because sometimes we're so quick to blame other people for things that we should be doing. It's our own responsibility to actually take the initiative and check and find the right information, not everything.
That's true.
It's the right information and
or just the intention, because I don't think there's rightness and wrongness. It's just the intention that you want to do better, you want to know better, you want to improve yourself. Okay. Because as I think information is not for everyone to understand and interpret it the same way. We all have different situations. We all need different things. Our growth is not linear. Everyone has their own. So whatever would work for you, even in dealing with this, you'd go for therapy and it would work. I would go for therapy and it wouldn't work. That doesn't mean that my road to being okay has ended just because everyone is saying that's the path to take. So I think it's just the intention. Once you have the intention, then you'll figure it out as you go.
Okay. And well, you're still at it when you're talking about relativity and things applying differently. As we end this discussion, it's not the end of the discussion, but as we end the segment, what would you say would be the best way or the ideal way that you dealt with the instances you've had? Because you've said it's not a process, neither is it just one instance of your mind working against you.
Realizing the milestones in terms of my ability to go through things and soldier on, which is a good bad thing, because that mentality works till a certain point, but also just being active with actually seeking healing. That's what my page is called, but yes, actively seeking healing.
So are you plugging your page? Yeah?
No, actually, but it is seeking healing, because we are not okay, so you're seeking healing. And for me, it affected me to a point where now I actually have physical health problems from my situation. So the anxiety is not the same anymore. I have real shortness of breath from not being healthy because of, being stressed or whatever that is. So actually finding healthy ways into getting my health back, and then also managing my, because sometimes it's not even about extinguishing the problem, it's about being able to say, okay, I can do this much, and as we go, we'll keep on just working slowly. I feel like we're taught you meant to figure it out, but it's a journey. Healing is a journey. I mean, those things have happened over a period of time. So at the same period of time they have taken, it will also take some period of time to, And that's what I think. It's not just one day you just wake up and you figured all of it out. For sure you have awakening periods where it's like a big part of it has been dealt with and you're like, thank you. But it's just a process.
Okay, Vicky, what
I
do you?
think, and for me, it would be first realizing I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay not to be okay. Do
Yeah.
not beat yourself up and be like, no, you're like this because of this and this and this. Now just be like, it's normal. And then the next part, when now actively seek healing, I'd say start taking care of yourself. If you know you have an issue falling asleep, try and figure out ways to make your sleep cycle become a bit normalize. And if you mess up during that point, it's okay. It is freaking okay to mess up.
Yeah.
But remember that you should not stay there and beat yourself up and continue. And also eat healthy and those things. But also, as she said, it took you a long time to get where you are. You will also take a long time to get better.
Yeah.
And have a better support system if you can get one. If you're unable to, it's okay. And then kujichunga.
I think people also need to really realize the building blocks of who a human being is. The most important is what you eat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Guilty.
yes. So a lot of the things we already consume depress us. The sugar, the salt, the what? I mean, yes, everything. The bread, the milk, almost everything. So the fact that people aren't even conscious that one of the things that they indulge the most in is actually affecting them in even a psychological level, I think is, and even, I mean, your body health ensures that there is a body for your mental health to thrive in. Your mental health ensures that there is a mind to help your body act out whatever you need to do. So I think it's a cyclic thing, like cyclic.
It's not.
It's a full circle. Like everything needs each other. So you can't neglect one part and just think, since we are doing all this yoga and we are doing meditation and we are praying to God. I mean, God still expects you to kind of maintain yourself and be healthy and do health. Exactly, So, and I think also just defining for yourself what taking care of the temple means. Like, I think we have generalized what health is too much that we forget what works for you. Go back to what works for you. Figure out what works for you and do it. Yeah.
Okay, from what I've just gathered is that we start from ourselves and then now we go to the support system. And I think we should, as we talk about support system, I think we should also be the ones to be good support systems for our friends. Because we have, or even our family, because it's easier for you to realize what's happening around you and take the initiative to...
before you expect other people to realize it and take the initiative.
Exactly. So you also make it a point to be the change.
Sure.
Because no one is going to come and change it for you in the way that you would want it to be. So I think taking the initiative to make the change is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you can't afford the services, there is...
You can seek therapy just to see if it's something that can work for your process.
Yeah.
I did try out therapy at some point, and to some extent it did work, but to another extent it didn't, and I stopped, and I've never wanted to go back.
Again.
Not because it was a bad experience, just because I didn't feel like it was helping me deal with whatever I was going through in a way that was progressive. So I feel like different things work. When I feel like I'm eating well and I'm exercising and my body is working well, sometimes it gives me hope that I will figure out the rest, So it doesn't have to be a certain type of way. I think it's just do what makes you just hang on to do the next and the next, and then at some point you'll be like, there's a whole system and it's working great.
And also, as you're doing that, I'd also advise people avoid nitpicking and trying to be a perfectionist, right? Don't try to be perfect. You can't. There's no. First of all, who came up with the word perfect? What is the essay you need for perfection?
Bible.
Okay.
No, God doesn't want you to be
Then I
perfect.
say everything he created was perfect.
Exactly, but that's God.
But God is.
No, I'm just saying the word. Where the word came from.
Okay.
It's in the Bible.
Fine, we'll take that. So don't try to become to be perfect, because it will hurt you in the end.
Yeah.
You just do what you are able to do at your given time, and with time you'll notice the small, tiny steps or big steps if taken will, as she said, make your system stick and make you feel become well. Yes.
I think I can plug in my thing now.
This
So
is
I came up with a service that comes into play with building on the loopholes that exist between mental health and therapy. I feel like the accessibility and just seeking healing has become such a it's such a tough process, I mean, from the rates to finding somebody you can actually be comfortable with talking to, because I think people just assume that because they're a therapist you'll just go and be like, so my problems, they're just 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you have to first actually see if you connect. Sometimes people don't follow through. They go through a couple of people before they find the one who they're like, hi, you can discuss my problems, anyway. But I feel like the gap is so big, and so I came up with an online service that just encourages people to book a session and talk out in the moment what they're experiencing, just to like remove the pressure out of, and just help people see that they actually have certain things that they're facing, and they just being conscious of it is the first step. Self-awareness is the first step. So yes, I do think that if the instruments or the tools we need to do some of these things are not available, then we should take it upon ourselves to create systems that can come in and help, not just to say it's not enough, okay, so what are we doing about it? So you can check it out. It's called Seeking Healing. It's on Instagram, and if you have any questions you can just holler at me. I will be sure to get back.
I have no plans.
Are you guys, me, cloud in transit here too. Yeah, to my Magiza. So thanks for
nice.
Yeah, it has been.
Thank you for having us. Oh, having it.
No, actually,
it's
hard.
been nice.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
It was hard. So thank you for having us.